Hey guys, my name is Jonathan Reich. I'm a licensed CPA in the state of Louisiana. And because I'm a licensed CPA, I find myself doing the most like off the wall things to help my clients. I mentioned it in the past, like I will bend over backwards to help make sure my clients succeed because if they're making money, I can make money. And like what's good for one hand is good for the other. So anytime they come to me and they say, "Hey man, can you like help me out?" I will always try and find a way to say yes. And sometimes it's like harebrained stuff that might take a couple weeks for me to put together. And then other times it might be something as simple as a notarization. And they come to me because they know that my bookkeeper has her notary license. She can give them a quick little stamp and I won't charge them anything. That's a big one. But my bookkeeper is only part time. She's not always in the office. And so, like, whenever someone comes to me and they say, "Hey, man, I need to notarize this. It's the 25th. It's due today. If I don't get this lien waiver out in time, I'm not going to be able to bill for this month's work. And then I'm carrying 60 days of payables and payroll. It's going to kill my working capital." Like it kind of snowballs. And so I always want to be able to try and find a solution for them. And when my bookkeeper's out of office, I was like, "Oh crap, I really don't have a great solution. Like you can go to the UPS store or you can go to like the bank or something, maybe." That's just not how I roll. And so I want to make sure I can take care of them. And so I found out there are these neat things this year called RONs. I had never heard of it, and you may not have heard of it either, but what that stands for is Remote Online Notary Services. And I would compare it to like DocuSign, basically, to where at one point, whenever everyone was like first, introduced DocuSign, they were like, "Oh heck no, this is never going to work. Like this is not binding." Well, then everyone was proven wrong. And now, if you send me something, like the bank sends me something, and it's not a DocuSign, they want me to print it, do a signature, and then scan it back in. I'm like, no, that takes too much time. And so I think that's kind of what remote online notary services are going to end up being, to where like it's like you don't really need to go see a notary in person, or just log in, boom, there you go. And so that leads me to the topic of today's discussion, which is two of the notary services that I have been trying out. I've honestly given a lot of them a test drive just because I want to see like who's got the best price, the quickest connectivity, the best user interface. And so today I want to talk about One Notary. I explained that they were number one, uh, and Notary Live. So a little bit about Notary Live. They're a little different from One Notary, and I'll tell you why. Here's why they're a little different, just a little different from One Notary. So this little guy right here, this single use or monthly billing for business, I think this is probably one of the like biggest differentiators between the two platforms, because to me they're very similar. There are some key differences, but this monthly billing option. So what I have found with a lot of the different notary services out there is you pay a monthly subscription, and then for every notarization you do, it might be 10, $25, et cetera. It's going to be a price per notarization on top of the cost of this monthly subscription. That's not the case with Notary Live. Notary Live does offer the ability for you pay a monthly premium, whatever that might be. I don't know what it might be because I don't want to talk to a salesperson. A little bit more on that in a second. Um, and then you have access to unlimited notarizations, which is great if you're pushing like just a ton of volume through. Uh, for me, for the individual, it's $25 per session. That is kind of the going rate that I've seen on like Blue Notary, One Notary, Notary Live, notarized, if I'm not mistaken. It's typically around $25 because they have to pay the notary, they got to pay for their servers, they got to pay for document storage, all of that. So like it's not going to be free ever, but that $25 to me is $25 well spent because I don't have to like get in my car, put my seatbelt on, drive down to the bank, drive down to the UPS store, burn up gas, waste time in line, give them the document, and then take it back to my office and scan it in. It's right here on the computer and it's done. So $25 well spent. So, what are some of the key differences aside from that between Notary Live and One Notary? Um, One Notary has a little bit more depth in their offerings for their businesses. I'm going to walk you through that in just a second, but I do want to show you what it's like to use Notary Live real quick. It's going to be very, very similar to One Notary. So you just come in here and you pick out your document. And I'm not going to go through the whole thing because I don't need to show you guys my sensitive information. So it's going to ask me for my first name, last name, and my email address. and then it's going to showcase that document. You can see this is just an invoice from a vendor. It's going to make sure that this is the one you want, and then it's going to push you through, check your microphone, your hardware. I'm not sure if it's going to let me do it because I'm actively recording a video, but it's going to do a check. Look, there I am. I'm here twice. I'm going to close that out, click OK, click OK. It told me I failed. And so then it's going to be pay, and then you'll verify your identity, and that's it. And so you're ready to roll and get your documents notarized. So overall, in my opinion, these two platforms are very similar. I'm going to show you One Notary in a second. But the only thing that I would say that kind of differentiates them is I feel like maybe One Notary has slightly more robust compliance and security features. So let's go ahead and jump over there real quick. And then some of the items under their business plans are a little bit more impressive to me. However, it doesn't apply directly to me. And the reason I say that is because someone in my office has their notary stamp. I'm not going to be pushing mad volume through the platform. I'm just not. But if you are, for instance, a law firm, a real estate firm, a bank, a corporate headquarters, something like that, then it would definitely makes sense for you to pay the $49 a month and then access all these features. So unlimited storage for your docs. So if you forget to save it down in a moment of like oopsie daisy and you need to go and get it 2 weeks later, it's there. Biometric ID. The big one to me, the big plus for One Notary is templates. Like if you're sending out a ton of the same documents, like a ton of power of attorneys or a ton of like real estate closing transaction docs, you can use those templates. You have unlimited team members. The big one to me is the API and custom branding. So if you are trying, like if you're a software company that wants to include notarizations within the services that you offer, like that just makes good sense. You have access to the API and you're ready to roll. But those are going to be like the key differences, and that's more on like the business side of One Notary, in my opinion. The other thing that I appreciate about One Notary is you get 5 free notarizations using the business plan to make sure it's something that you want. And so you can kind of take it for a test drive. I'm not sure if I saw that same amount of freebies on the NotaryLive platform, but let's walk through what it looks like to do a notary with One Notary. So it's going to be very, very similar to what I just showed you guys. You can just pick one of these documents and pick that same invoice. I'm going to click next over here. I'm going to punch in my information, hit next. You can add a signer, you can add a witness. It is slightly higher in terms of cost, but it is really convenient if you need somebody as a witness for whatever form you're attesting, because you can pick from the pool of additional folks within One Notary's platform. They can be the witness, and away you go. So I'm going to stop here, but I'll tell you what happens for the rest of the way. So you're going to enter your card information. You're going to close out that pop-up in the bottom right-hand corner that just came up. Then you're going to show them your ID. Once you put your credit card information in here, you're going to show them your ID, and you're going to take your ID and you're going to hold it up to the camera just like that. And then you're going to flip it around and you're going to hold it like that. And it's going to do front and back of your ID. They're going to ask you some questions that only you would know the answer to. Where have you worked? Maybe friends and family, coworkers, stuff like that. And then you're in the session. Last time I did it, it took maybe a minute or 3. I mean, it was so fast. I got my notary. I was able to send the bill out. We closed the session. They were super professional. Overall, I was really, really pleased with how it worked. I do really appreciate the smoothness and the UI within One Notary. Like it's just a very polished platform. It seems modern. They do boast about their security compliance. Like I know that they're a well set up company. They're MISMO certified. They have SOC2 compliance. They're going to store your documents in the notary interaction for I think it's 7 years, but it might be 10. I can't recall off the top of my head. So overall, I just feel really good trusting the platform to hold my secure information. So, like I said, they're very, very similar. I don't think you're going to go wrong with either, but One Notary to me is the one that I enjoy using the most, just because it's a little bit more polished, a little bit more transparent on what you get. You do get a couple freebies. but they're both competitive. Like pick your poison basically. But if you're going to be doing a ton of volume, if you're a real estate professional, a law firm, a bank, or anything like that, definitely check out One Notary. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you learned something. On to the next.